29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
What do you got to eat? Here, guys. What's this say? I don't know. What's that say? I know, but I'm not gonna tell. I think it says it's good.
Conjecture Hoops contains all the presumptions, assumptions, and off-the-wall postulations a growing kid needs. Conjecture Hoops, a big bowl of bullshit. Saturday morning cartoons,
Now at night time.
mostly conjecture based on little knowledge.
Please welcome Max Headshrew, Dell, Ari Blackness, and your most gracious host, Ben Motherfucking Jackson. Applause. Applause. Applause.
Where are those people?
So the good news is that I had till 3 my time because of daylight savings. So it's like
Because of not daylight
8 because of not daylight savings. So it's 8:15 UK time. The bad news is the bus driver just completely lied to me about the route that he was going to take and where I could get off. So Matushka, I'm on my podcast. Please don't talk to me. So, anyways,
I'll bring her on me.
I'm late because Colombian bus drivers lied to me and I slept on their bus and then I woke up and I wasn't where I was meant to be. And I had to get off and get on a moto taxi for quite a while. And you can't check your phone or even your watch on those things because you'll fall off. Anyways, how's everybody? I've missed you.
Yeah, good. I only understood half of what you said.
Oh, sorry. Was I coming in and out? Was I breaking up?
No, I'm just joking.
Okay. All right.
I'm picturing a bus ride through Colombia. This
Yeah.
hair-raising countryside.
Yeah.
Armed militia everywhere.
Well,
I think
the
really
country,
Or is it
mean-
just like being on the Greyhound in the States?
the country's quite beautiful, but the bus drivers here are dishonest and unconcerned with people's times and schedules. Anyways, we're here now. We're gonna talk about horror comic books. I've got a really
Are you
fun
sure we're not
one.
going to meet your mum? Oh yeah, Mama Ben. Ben.
She's replying to the things that I'm saying, like interjecting as if I don't know. I guess she supposed that people could hear her somehow.
Queremos encontrarte.
You could hear her. Is that your mum in the background?
Yes.
Ring her on. She has to come on.
I think it's a prerequisite.
Mom, do you want to come here for a second?
See, it gets dangerous because I brought my mum. Oh, hola.
Voila!
Hola. Oh.
Oh, she's
No
muted.
podemos hacer.
We can see her. She's not allowed to speak on camera.
Ben, no hay sonido.
Hola from Europe.
Ah, you've muted. You've muted yourself.
horror
Yeah.
of horror.
To be fair, I think I
That
mute
was,
my
that
mum
was
as
very
well.
quick, and we only caught the last syllable. Okay, no problem.
Oh,
You
Ben,
muted yourself again.
unmute yourself. I tell you, we don't do this for a fortnight, and it all goes to hell.
Problemas técnicas.
Yeah.
Dude, we can't hear a word you're saying. You've muted yourself.
Oh,
Sorry.
There
you go.
There you go. Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
She was just saying she doesn't like horror. Why don't we talk about nice things?
I might be American, but I can make coffee.
All right. So
My mum doesn't like horror either.
yeah.
Does not understand it.
Well, I didn't used to, but
No, me neither.
it's kind of Max that's got me into it in a weird way. Like because I quite like the Hellraiser franchise now, as you guys know, and I've just been kind of expanding my reading. I found a book that I want to show you guys. It's not very well known. Those are always the most fun to share. And it's called Children of the Voyager.
Okay. And not Star Trek related.
Not sorry, what?
Not Star Trek related.
No, it's not. Not that Voyager. Although that would be cool. So the Voyager is just kind of like this for lack of a better word, demon, but sort of mythology and lore of him is a little bit different. So it's a pretty cool book. It's all about a guy who's so I'll just read the first page because it's a pretty cool introduction to the concept.
Let me just get myself comfortable.
Sure. Or Rob, how about you read the first page in your most dramatic horror monologue voice?
Oh, does it? Okay, so it has to be like, you know, I'm going to bring this out, don't you? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, well, it's allowed. If Max isn't here, then the microphone is allowed.
From such crooked wood as that which man is made of, nothing straight can be fashioned. Immanuel Kant.
He was a real that guy.
I thought we were going to start doing Monty Python. Immanuel Kant was a real pissant. Sorry. As a child, did you ever walk in a dark place? A lane or an old road where your footfalls echoed against a dry bank or crumbling wall? And did you ever stop and listen to see if something was following you, shadowing your footsteps? Something otherworldly, supernatural, waiting to snatch you away from this world and take you elsewhere. Of course, that was all childhood fears and fantasy, wasn't it? Hang on, gotta do that with the eyebrow. Wasn't it? The foulest stenches in the air.
So yeah, so
Price in the room.
So this Voyager character is basically like the boogeyman, right? And so it's sort of like, remember how we talked about Urotsuki Doji, and we kind of realized it's a sort of inversion of the Christian mythology of the Immaculate Conception. So it's like the most unimmaculate conception imaginable. So this is sort of a similar play on mythology. Like if you take the Judeo-Christian concept that if you see God, you die. It's kind of like that, because this entity appears to his own children and like eats them. And if you see him, then you die. So that's kind of cool. It kind of reminds me of like X-Men art with like the way people used to draw, like that one character from Generation X that like cover his face because it like shot lasers out of his face or whatever. If you know what I'm talking about, but you never
Cyclops.
see not
Like
Cyclops. But like Cyclops, but it's a different character I had in mind. I don't remember his name, but yeah,
Okay.
same concept. But the
Yeah.
cool thing about this monster is that you can't see his face because
Mhm.
ostensibly, at such a time as a character would see the face, they would be consumed by him, right? Which is what happens here too. So go ahead with hit me with that microphone one more time, Rob.
Oh,
if
all
you
right
would.
then. What's my motivation, Lobby? Take my hand. Take my hands, child. Tell me what you've learned. No, child. Mother, father. Will I dream? Dream.
And then he says, "No, child."
Oh, and then it says, "Oh, really? Oh, okay. So it's down, down, down. Okay,
Yeah, sorry.
fair enough."
Yeah.
Don't you
No,
know how to
child.
read comic
Oh,
books?
I see. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
No,
and then she
child,
dies.
I
right?
expect you to die.
Exactly. So it's kind of a fun take on the boogeyman, and then like the whole plot. It's a 4-part. It's a 4-issue arc, yeah, and then like the whole plot revolves around this one dude being chased by it, who's a writer, and like coming to understand that this demon that's his father is also like the inspiration for his writing. So it's kind of an ironic thing because he's like grateful to it for being his muse, but also like not wanting to die and stuff. Goes to a witch to like learn how to evade it and what it's all about and stuff like that. So there's just fun magic elements, you know. It kind of reminds me of like Sandman, where there's witches and doing all manner of witchcraft to get in and out of the dream world.
The
So-
art style looks very Sandman-esque.
Right, doesn't it, Rob? You know, like put the mask on him, and then she can see through the mask and see his dreams. That's super Sandman-esque, you know.
Yeah.
And like they're trying to outwit this like this undying demigod entity, kind of like the Sandman, only this one's evil and he's sort of ambiguous. So
Okay,
it's a
so
fun book.
Mhm. I just want to say this came out in the 90s, 93 then. And when did Sandman come out?
Around the same time.
Yeah, because I was going to
89,
ask
but
this whole art style, like all the messy ink blots. It
Yeah.
seems to me that was like something of its time. Do you ever see that anymore? Does anybody know?
You're right, Rob, because it's one of those things that I wasn't necessarily super aware of it, but it is something that I enjoy, and it's
Yeah.
something that I look for when I'm deciding if I want to buy a book.
Okay.
So it's
Well, buy
definitely-
Rattle and Roll because that's got ink blotches all over the place.
If I think I already have done, but
I mean,
if I haven't,
something
I
else.
definitely will. I'm not even
Whoa.
kidding, Rob. Like the art that you've done in Rattle and Roll is very good. It's of the style that, you know, it's right up my alley. It's the style that I enjoy.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's
you're a
only-
good lad.
and it's
It's only-
only £3 on Amazon. So
Is
it's
it?
not even,
it's a,
Bloody
yeah.
hell, they're robbing me.
that's
Sorry.
not expensive at all. You should
No.
increase the price.
Yeah, I guess.
The trouble with selling things on Amazon is that you don't get enough of the money yourself, is it? Don't do you?
Well,
Or
you,
how
you
does-
can
or is
set
it a
it.
good deal
You
for
can set it because the print costs are so much, and then whatever's above the print cost,
Okay.
you can decide that.
Well, if you can get it for £3, that doesn't sound like much more than the print cost.
Not really, not really. I to be honest, I just want to make it like accessible for everybody. Anyway,
Right.
so but thanks for the plug, guys. Yeah, these messy ink blots. That seems like very much like since I've been hanging with this crew, I've seen this, and it just seems to me to be that like one particular era of time that you see
Right.
that more.
Right.
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
I've always
Yeah.
known that I liked it as an effect. I never made the connection that it was more, you know, characteristic of the time that I enjoy most. What's that?
Possibly.
What's that, Buddha?
Well, I'm just saying it was probably the era we would have started reading comics.
Yeah.
I guess so.
You know,
I guess you
You
two
know,
are of a
please,
similar age, aren't you?
Yeah, I think I'm a bit older, but certainly the things that you discover as a teenager are usually the things you love for life, because that was still the era where your mind can be blown.
That makes sense.
You don't. You become more cynical. I think. Well, you become more cynical in your older age because you've seen it all before. You can see how derivative things are. Where you wouldn't have seen the influences back then.
I don't disagree, but I do just feel like most modern comics are just less interesting objectively, regardless. But maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, we could get into whether it's a dying medium altogether.
No, God, somebody save it!
we're trying, man, but it takes a long time when you have other things going on in your life.
Yeah.
Where's the originality?
So that's my book. What books do you guys have?
Yeah. Do you want to go first, Buddha?
I may as well because I don't have anything. I really struggled with this one. I thought horror comics. No, I don't think I've really read one. So,
and to be fair, Rob, the microphone worked really well for that as an effect. So credit where it's due.
The closest I could really think of as an example of a horror comic is something. I think horror should disturb you first and foremost. If something disturbs you and puts you ill at ease, then that falls into the horror category for me. It doesn't necessarily have to be something supernatural or be necessarily about a serial killer, be a slasher story. Something that puts you ill at ease. This book put me ill at ease. Has anyone read this?
No.
No,
I've seen that cover before, though.
Yeah, it's
me
quite
too.
a famous book, quite a famous cover.
I'm sure I've seen that in like what do you call it? Like a hipster bookstore where where all the graphic novels are like about lesbians and weird things, and you're like, "Where's the superheroes?" And you don't buy anything.
No. It's the type of store I frequent and lap up their product and pretend that I'm not into superhero stuff.
When Ben said, it's a kind of a book you see in a hipster store, I don't think he wanted to cast aspersions on your good.
No, I was casting aspersions.
Oh, fair enough. I stand corrected, or rather, I sit corrected.
Yeah, here's my aspersions, and I'm tossing them. One after the other.
I wouldn't say I'm a hipster. I say I've sort of maybe mildly tried to pass myself off as a hipster in the past and failed miserably.
So that you said that book properly shocked you or disturbed you?
It disturbed you. It puts you ill at ease. It's basically it's about teenage venereal disease.
I told you it was something weird. I told you it was some weird hipster thing.
Teenage venereal disease as opposed to like any other venereal disease. What?
Well, it's a sort of epidemic of
it's an epidemic with the youngsters.
Amongst the youngsters. But okay, I'm going to ask the fated question here.
I thought I had gonorrhea one time, and it turns out that I just had that you can have such an irritable bowel that it's also an irritable bladder. So that's a thing.
Ooh.
Is your mum still in the room?
Well, she is, but I was pretty clear that I didn't have gonorrhea, so that's fine.
Why?
I just had symptoms that mimicked gonorrhea.
Why would you think you had gonorrhea?
Oh, she can put two and two together, Robert. So tell me more about the story. Why is it called Black Hole? And has she got gonorrhea in the book?
Or you could ask
hole.
if she's got a black
It's
hole.
one of those stories where the title doesn't necessarily pertain to anything in the story. Black hole is more a state of mind. I want to show you some of the artwork from it.
Yeah.
So click on present.
Present. Share screen.
Yeah.
Yes, that'll be the one.
Share.
There it
Can
is.
you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can.
we're all seeing it. Good.
Yo.
Okay. Fairly smooth that time.
You got the hang of it. I'm happy.
So, I mean, this is
Ooh.
just some of the general artwork.
Oh god, yeah. That's pretty
little-
disturbing with the back, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my god. This is like a high school yearbook or something.
Yeah,
It's kinda-
exactly.
It kind
I
of
mean,
gives me the impression of like an exaggeration of like the things that you're preoccupied with as a high schooler, right? Like you don't want to have too much acne, you don't want to look weird.
Exactly.
So it's like a grotesque, sort of esperpento version of all those anxieties.
Why is she eating a sandwich like a kangaroo?
I don't know, dude. It's like a hipster weird book.
Yeah. You don't question why in these stories. I think it might be a dream in that case. So the way this venereal disease sort of manifests is kind of these big lesions in the skin. And can you see these here? These are a few examples.
Yeah.
So
What body part is that?
Yeah, that's my question.
What do I look at?
Is that Is that the vulva?
I can't think what that is. But these lesions sort of appear. So there's one on the foot. That's the one that always sticks out in the memory for me.
Yeah, that would be
on the back.
That would be disturbing to have a cut on the bottom of your foot.
Yeah, exactly.
To have a what on the bottom of your foot?
To have a
whatever it is, it's a lesion, a cut, an abrasion,
an entrance point, maybe.
Yes, yeah. Obviously, these all have a very sort of vaginal look.
Yeah, that's what I didn't want to say out loud.
Yeah. Wait. That fourth picture. It makes me want to say thank you for that warm hand on my entrance.
Yeah, exactly. That one's like, she's changed her mind about access. She's taken off all her clothes, she's into it, and then she just puts the hand in like, no.
Access denied.
Access denied.
Oh, look at that.
Oh God.
Now you see what I mean. Like, if we want to talk horror, this is horror. This is horror for me.
It's body. Isn't this what's called body horror?
Yeah.
It's like Cronenberg meets Mobius.
Exactly. I have a phobia I've discovered. It's called tryptophobia.
Yeah,
and,
I know what that is.
Yeah, well, let's not talk about it too much because it really upsets me. But this kind of plays into it a little. It's all to do with circles and flesh. Yeah.
So I think what I'm noticing right away
Hello,
is that,
Google,
like,
what is tryptophobia?
there's something really interesting about tryptophobia, Rob, is just when you're freaked out by like repeating patterns, like people who have skin conditions with like a bunch of little holes or something, like fungus growing on them. That should be disturbing to everyone, but if it's inordinately disturbing to you, as it seems to be the case for Rob, then that's called tryptophobia.
What people tend to do, and I don't know why they do this, other than to freak people out, I think, like me, is they tend to take images of flowers with that holes in, and then they sort of Photoshop it onto people's flesh, and you just post it online. You know, to so you Google tryptophobia, and all these images come up, and so it's really weird because it's in large part a phobia of something that doesn't really exist, at least not before Photoshop. It's to do with the randomness of holes. But you know, a book like this and that.
Buddha's got
This is the sort
tryptophobia.
of thing.
But are you afraid of a venereal disease, Buddha, or just afraid of tryptophobia? Or hold on, I have a better
Well-
question. Is the tryptophobia because you wouldn't want that to happen to you, or do you just think it's gross in general?
Both. I think it would be the worst thing imaginable to happen to you, to yourself, to have to look at that in the mirror.
See, I think the worst thing imaginable would be if God turned out to be evil and finding him meant annihilation. So that explains my book. What's the most horrible thing that could ever happen to you, Rob? And do you have a comic book about it?
I to be honest, I don't. I went totally a different direction, but I'll come to that in a second. This with a tryptophobia, I've never really heard of that, but it really it's interesting.
I hadn't heard of it until I discovered I had it.
No, it's a real thing.
Okay, so now here's a funny thing. I was about 8 years old, right? Oh, first of all, I'll let me refer back to Ben's question. Are you afraid of getting a venereal disease? But in which case, like, who's not afraid of getting a venereal disease, Ben? Right, okay.
All I can say is chance would be a fine thing these days.
I mean, you know, what's gonna happen is gonna happen. Just
So when I was about 8 years old,
actually, sorry, Rob. I should maybe wait till Max is back to tell you this.
No, tell us. You can tell us again.
if
later.
it concerns venereal disease and Max, we're instantly interested.
Well, no, Max will tell the story better. But we were just out the other week, and we were you came up in conversation, Ben, and the basic gist of it was how stunningly beautiful the women that you date are when they're in Colombia, as opposed to our British women. And
now you know why I live here, and that's not even a joke. Like, I would say that if it wasn't true because it's funny, but it's not a joke. This is why I'm here.
But funny enough, you mentioned venereal disease, because one of our party, and this is obviously just a middle-aged, embittered Brit saying this. He just went, yeah, but they're all riddled with VD. It's like,
what you know, not all of them.
You take some antibiotics. You keep a good.
He just heard, South America,
buy a lot of condoms.
They must all have VD,
Oh, that's such a racist thing. It's such a
I
don't think. What is that racist, Rob?
Well, to assume that because somebody's from a certain country, they've got to have
Oh, I see. No, I guess that is racist. I was
pretty much.
They all have VD.
Any all statements, any they all statements. That's pretty much textbook wrote racism, isn't it?
Yeah.
See, my initial understanding.
But I wanted to ask you that question when Max was here.
Okay.
Do all Colombian women have VD?
Well, I mean, not that I know of, but I'm also not super responsible about going to doctors and things. So who knows? I mean, maybe I've got VD. Who knows? Who could really tell?
Ben lives there.
Is it hanging off? Is it hanging or is it hanging off?
See, my modus operandum is to just sort of like get in a relationship with one woman and then just only sleep with that woman for as long as possible. So, that's not. I don't use protection, so it's not like I'm being safe. But it is a pretty good strategy, and it seems to work out so far.
I tell you what, Ben's approach to relationships sounds like gamification.
Wait a minute. What do you mean?
stay in that relationship and just stay in that relationship as long as possible.
As long as possible, because eventually these things like borderline personality disorder and like being physically abusive and these kind of issues will eventually make it so it's not worth it anymore. But it's about a year or so of really good stuff. So
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. It's there's no better part of the relationship than the first 12 months.
exactly. So the way I live my life is I just repeat those 12 months with a different woman each year.
50 first dates.
No, it's more like 40 first years, right?
Oh God.
21st years of relationship of being.
Jim's already said you've got like beautiful girlfriends, and that's a shame because this means that this joke won't work, because otherwise we could have called it Groundhog Day.
Is your mum still there? I've got more questions.
No, but for my mom's sake, I'll say that the woman I'm dating now is really special, and this time I'm gonna stay with her for probably forever. And I'm serious.
So somebody living next to a nightclub, or somebody listening to the Beatles backwards.
Yeah, I think someone just rolled up playing really loud music.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So yeah, and by the way, it's not because I'm special or good at meeting women or particularly good looking. It's literally just you could do it too. Just move to South America. That's all. That's all there is to it. There's no formula. There's no trick. That's all you have to do.
In Nottingham for 4 years, and I think for some reason the female population outnumbered the male 2-1.
In Nottingham,
yeah, it's a similar thing. It's like the reason I stayed there for 4 years was that was a large factor in that equation.
2 girls for
every cup.
So Rob.
Sorry, yes.
Hold on. So I'm still curious about Black Hole.
All right. Okay.
What's the story then? She develops this tryptophobia disease from relations, and then what? Does she recover? Does she die? Does she learn to live with it?
I don't think she actually has tryptophobia.
Yeah.
Oh, the music's gone.
Well, I mean, it's one of those stories where the plot really isn't too important. It's basically a story where a girl contracts venereal disease, and it's more about her headspace, as she goes along coping with this, and it's all very.
Just to be inside of the young woman's mind as she's dealing with disease and mental illness. And
yes, it's a horror story.
Right.
It's all very metaphorical.
But like,
is
it fun to read that? Like,
no. Well,
no.
I like to feel like I'm being intellectually stimulated. Sometimes in my choices of films to watch and in my choices of reading material. I find if feel like I'm being intellectually stimulated, if somebody's stimulating the grey matter a little bit, I can find that fun,
Okay.
I don't like talking like this because I think you can come across as sounding like a major prick if you're a major snob about this kind of stuff.
I don't think you're. Like maybe a lieutenant at most, lieutenant prick, but like not even that. You know?
The camp
Okay, I'll
commandant.
take Lieutenant Prick. Yeah.
I don't think you're a prick. You can read anything you like, and I just want you to tell me what you like about it.
Okay, well that's what I like. I like to feel that I'm being intellectually stimulated and not talked down to, and I'm being. I want to feel like an author's trusting me to be intelligent and not spilling everything out for me.
Okay.
And I find it boring just to want to be entertained the whole time. I like to be entertained once in a while.
I got you.
Just to unwind. Sometimes I don't want something too taxing, but I do like things that are semi-taxing.
I find it hilarious, and not to take away from. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, and it's totally valid. But I am a prick, so I have to say this. I think it's hilarious that the book about being inside, like the point of view of a young woman dealing with depression, is called Black Hole. That's actually funny to me, because it is like a black hole sometimes when you try to talk to people who are just going from a negative place to a more negative place to a more negative place to a more negative place.
Right. So you see Black Hole as being her mindscape.
Right.
Yeah. As well as, I mean, it's a title that works on many levels.
Yeah, no, I get that. That's actually really clever.
Yeah, but I mean, teenagehood is a dark time, and I love stuff that sort of lays into that, and it can be done as it can be used as a means for something like a horror story, but it can be very funny. I think your teenage years. I love the film Napoleon Dynamite.
Yes.
Because that's about the most awkward, gawky teen imaginable, but it's hilarious.
Exactly, and everyone can relate to it, right? It's an exaggeration, obviously, but it is. But it's still, there's a part of you that identifies with Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah.
Tossing the toys out the window and dragging them behind the school bus,
Yeah.
I never did that, but it's the kind of thing that I would do,
Yeah.
But
it's funny because it's so meaningless, because you do these meaningless things.
Really no point.
These pointless things. You think, I'm going to hook a toy into a fishing line, is it? And then they throw it out the back of the bus and just watch it bounce along the road. There's no rhyme or reason.
And you could read a lot into it. You could be like, this is a projection of what he wishes he could do to his bullies or something.
Maybe,
told me once, but I don't know.
I remember watching it and thinking exactly that. It's like, I used to do random meaningless shit that I couldn't really justify.
Well, I mean, I've destroyed toys in a lot of creative ways. I guess
I don't know if we ought to ask for details, actually.
Well, like, nothing.
Are you the kid from Toy Story? Are you
pretty much. That's
the
me.
horror story. And
well, I'm the kid that when I watched Toy Story, I was just like, whatever, who cares? Until that kid showed up, and then I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And then I'm gonna start taking notes and like, take the head doll, put it on put a baby head doll on a robot spider, I mean, I identify with that kid a lot because I like to take toys apart, and remember we had Charles Marsh on the show, and he talked to us a little bit about like how to kit bash and stuff like that. I think that's fascinating. I have way too many things I want to do in my life, but I think kit bashing would be a lot of fun to learn how to do. Like just taking toys apart and putting them together in new ways is fun.
Yes.
Anyways,
I've just twigged who you're talking about.
The guy,
Monster Forge.
Yeah, the guy from Monster Forge. He's got a store on Etsy called Stupid Force with 3 O's.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, check that out. Maybe I'll link it. Maybe I'll comment.
Yes. Yeah.
I should do
It's good
that.
stuff he did.
That guy's cool. I like him a lot. But anyways, wow, what an interesting random.
So yeah, I didn't pick something more conventional in horror, but like, I mean,
No apologies.
yeah, outside of something like this, I really couldn't think of. I mean, I have a few Edgar Allan Poe adaptations, but they're adaptations, you know. I think we were really looking for something more original. And outside of that, I mean,
I almost
a
showed
couple of Hellraiser comics, but we've done Hellraiser. So.
Exactly.
No,
And
I thought I'd throw you guys a curveball.
No, that's cool, Buddha. I
and
appreciate
talk,
it.
and talk about.
I mean, I'm obviously going to
lesbian
make
hipster
fun
shit.
of. I'm obviously going to make fun of anything that I can think of a way to make fun of. But I
Yeah.
get what you like about that book, sincerely, and I thought it was really interesting hearing about it. And I'm not joking. Rob, do you have
Yo.
something you want to show us?
Yeah, go on then. I'll tell you what though. First with this tryptophobia, I kind of like brought back a childhood memory. I used to have this nightmare, and I would have it like a few times, and the nightmare was a woman's leg and peeling the skin off, and underneath is a wallpaper pattern.
Oh,
like
COVID,
a
COVID Kev says
I was
Ben has his own parking space at the VD clinic. No, Kev, the opposite. Ben's never. Here's how I have. Here's what a VD test.
You have to pay.
Exactly. Here's me getting a VD test. All right. Imagine I'm at my house playing video games, and my girlfriend says, "So I just got my VD test. I'm all clean." And then I just look at her and sort of half acknowledge it and just think internally, well, that certainly means that I'm clean too, and carry on. That's how I do it. That's all I've ever done.
I have to say at this juncture that this is the most VD has actually been used as a term since 1985.
Which is when Black Hole was originally published.
Well, it's like
what should we say now? ST.
Well, it's STI,
STD,
I guess.
I think.
STD, yeah, STD or STI, yeah.
All right. Do people not say?
Do you all have sexual education? Do you all have sexual education in England?
Not anymore, because you know, like I've been left school for 30 years, so you know.
Yeah, obviously, I had it in the 90s. Probably last one VD was.
How long ago was I in school? This is
Max
wild
is watching.
by now. She's just rolling her eyes and minding her own.
Well, how old are you, Ben? 34?
I'm 35.
35. So you're 7 years younger than me.
Holy cow, that sounds old to say out loud.
So you would have been at high school the late 90s, early noughties? Sort of back to the
I was in high
90s.
school in like the early aughts. I think I graduated in 2007 from high school. So there was lots of sex education. It was remarkable how little they thought we could figure out on our own. They would explain to us what condoms are and how to use them, and the whole time I'm just like, yeah,
we have the internet.
Yeah.
No, I'm happy with adults teaching sexual education. I think given the choice of who you want it to be taught by, your numbskull mates who maybe never done it or are only sexually active for 1 year and have no idea what sexual relations and relationships are all about, or learned, experienced adults who have been through it all, seen it all, the highs and the lows. Yeah, no, those are the people who should be teaching about.
You make a good point. You make a good point, Buddha, and you're not wrong. But I don't know, how complicated is this? Like, the more partners you have, the more likely you are to contract the disease. Probably a good idea to use a condom. What else is there? Like, I don't know. It doesn't seem that complicated. Well, maybe I'm just saying that because I had excellent sexual education.
I just love the fact that people are coming out. Oh yeah, let's learn about some horror comics and like. And Ben gets a condom and a banana out.
Yeah. So this is how you don't want to have any unexpected.
To be honest, I said before to my wife, I've got nothing, so I'm just going to derail this one. It's just going to go off. I'm not talking about horror.
Totally on brand. Totally on brand to do that.
Wait, okay, BD. Sorry, STIs.
So, was you seem to balk at my childhood like nightmare memory?
No, I wasn't balking. I thought it was.
That was
interesting.
Jim. I think you.
Yeah.
Was that a negative reaction from you?
Yeah. That what you described. That's horrific.
Yeah.
It's.
I think it's cool.
I don't want to talk about it.
No, it probably speaks to some deep-rooted psychological trauma and or fixation that you have, which by the way is not an insult because I've got traumas out the wazoo.
I don't think it's based on any trauma. Maybe there was something from my childhood.
No idea because I can't even figure out why I had that dream.
Yeah, it's something to do with something being there that shouldn't be there, or something not being there that should be there. That it just puts me on edge.
Right.
It's because I look at it and I feel that something's wrong with the world when I look at that.
It's a weird juxtaposition of content, right? Because it's something sexual. Let's be honest, with something really mundane.
Wallpaper. And striped wallpaper.
Yeah.
So I mean, the first thing that came to my mind, and maybe I'm completely wrong, but the first thing that came to my mind is like some kind of sexual frustration. Like as a young man, you're starting to be interested in women's legs, but all you've got access to is wallpaper. I don't know.
I have no idea. Seriously, and I guess I would have been about 8 years old, maybe 9 years old, and this would be a recurring thing. It's weird. If you like that, Jim, and I guess you don't.
I really, really don't.
I used to have another nightmare, and this one is not about body parts or anything, but I was at my grandmother's house in the back garden, which actually was a front garden. It's a really weird setup, but I was in the garden and I was safe in the garden, but there was a pantomime cat outside the garden, and I knew he couldn't get in, and I knew if I left the garden, then that would be bad
then
news
you'd
for
be
me.
vulnerable, right?
Yeah, and that was a really weird So yeah, all of you people at home, psychoanalysis, drop us a line.
Well, did you ever play? You used to play tag. Or in hide and seek and things like that.
Yeah. But not with a pantomime cat.
Not with a pantomime cat. But that might be where the concept of I'm safe in this area.
Describe to me what a pantomime cat is. That's
like a man in a cat suit, but it was like a big where's Arya when we need him? The furry, right? It's like a big, fluffy cat,
like
costume.
A mime,
like a man in a
cat
cat costume. Yeah. But I'm not talking about Catwoman.
But he's on two.
No,
legs,
I got you.
Like an
yeah, standing on two legs.
What
was that?
Did something happen in the garden, Rob? Something that you
I was a kid.
It happened outside the garden.
No, this is way pre-puberty, so I don't think there's anything sexual in there. But
Rob, I wish I was.
I hope not.
I wish I had your artistic skill so I could draw these stories because I think they're interesting. I really do. I think a book about women's legs that become wallpaper when you try to touch them, and also
I wasn't trying to touch them. I don't want to. I don't want to freak Jim out, but the skin would just peel off, and it was.
and then it was
That's
wallpaper.
not the horrific part as well. The skin coming off, I'm fine with that. If it was bone and sinew underneath, I'd be fine because that's what's meant to be there. But
Yeah.
wallpaper, horrible.
Dang. Yeah,
Well, did
yeah,
you
yeah.
read the story, The Yellow Wallpaper?
No.
All
that
go to
was-
Google.
So the Yellow Wallpaper. Oh yeah, but that was about the woman being locked in a room and not being allowed to go out, and then she kind of went crazy looking at the wallpaper. It's like a feminist short story.
Okay.
So,
We- We got to read
Yep.
Kev's comment. My sex education was finding copies of Razzle in a hedge while walking my dog and being curb crawled by DJ Jonathan King.
okay, I don't know what Razzle is, and I don't know.
Razzle
what
is like,
curb
as
crawl.
it sounds, it's an onomatopoeic magazine name. It's for like it's an adult magazine, a gentleman's magazine.
Yeah, it's a very, very low rent version
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
Playboy or Penthouse.
Dude, we used to love that. I don't know if that was a thing in the US, but like, every once in a while you'll find some some jizz mag that had been discarded
Oh, I
and
see.
had been caught in a hedgerow.
Yeah.
So it's like I think all teenage boys have had this experience.
Yeah, finding pornography. It used to be the place you go to get porn when you were a teenager.
Because you
couldn't
can't
find
buy
the
it,
shops.
so you have to
Yeah.
get it secondhand.
Yeah, but
the
it was
place
always
to go.
some in a head.
Oh no, I got to
See, I never did that
Fuck.
because, like,
And it was like, who is it who was going around just distributing pornography in all the parks?
Oh no, I got this stiffy that won't go
What?
down. I better go to the hedge.
you say that, you say that, Buddha, but that happens. You know, the same
Well,
way,
yeah, obviously,
like
yes, yeah.
contraband to underage people is a big business in the United States. Alcohol, pornography, cigarettes, all kind of things.
Oh,
So,
so you
like-
think it was there to be picked up?
Possibly.
So,
Well, what I mean is like where I grew up in the United States, at being like 12, 13, 14, if you really wanted to if you really wanted these kind of things and you could pay for them, you could find people to buy them for you. So I didn't have the hedge.
Well, and we had that
I never
also.
picked up a razzle from the hedge, as it were.
Do we want to explain DJ Jonathan King to them?
Jonathan King. The name rings a bell, but
Oh, well, he was another one in our fine, illustrious lineage of celebrity paedophiles that we have.
no,
in the UK.
seriously.
Yeah, to rank alongside Savile, Glitter. He's Harris. He's from that ilk. Yeah, he was one of the first to go down. Actually,
Really?
back in the 90s. Yeah.
Is that the phrase you want to use?
No, yeah, he go down as in like to be
Go down.
eliminated, and yeah, I understand.
Well, yeah. He went to prison. Yeah.
Yeah.
For a
yeah,
bit.
yeah,
Went to prison, you know.
back on the subject of wild wanking material. There was a Viz strip that dealt specifically with this topic. It's kind of like a mishmash of like wild big game hunters, and they scoured the countryside looking for discarded jizz mags. Big butterfly nets. I'm trying to find it. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I can see that that's a.
Viz already.
I can see that that's a big thing in the UK. Like, apparently, I don't know. I think Americans are more of like pornography aficionados. They. I mean, obviously, people use them to masturbate, but they don't. They don't damage the book itself. They try to preserve it. Whereas it sounds like y'all just use it and then throw it away.
Well, I think pornography is a lot more, or was when we were kids, a lot more prevalent in the States than it was over here. I mean, hardcore pornography was illegal in the UK
Really?
And yeah, up until probably about the year 2000, the early noughts, probably. And all you could get was this very tame stuff, and it was top shelf mags. They were
I think
called.
we're the last generation of like
Non-internet.
of non-internet pornography initiates. You know,
Yeah.
it's like
Well, I mean,
nowadays
you guys
anybody
had
younger
it on
than us.
cable, didn't you? For what I could see.
Well, not really. I mean,
It was there. There was a cable channel that you could subscribe to. That
if you
existed.
wanted to stay up until 3 a.m.
Right.
to watch like softcore nonsense that wasn't even that interesting, you could do, but like
Okay.
it wasn't really that fun. What's this then? Oh, is this the Viz book?
Yes, it is. I gotta sing it. Porn free.
I'm close to changing my
No,
mind.
there it is. There it is.
I might vote.
Soon.
I might vote yay on the microphone referendum next year.
Nice. And there you
Well,
go.
I imagine
I can't read that.
No, I can't.
The name is probably the funniest part of it.
That is really funny.
Well,
But yeah,
that's better.
In
Hang on
all,
a sec.
in
Am
all
I-
seriousness, pornography is
There we
evil,
go,
and,
there we go.
I don't encourage
Yeah.
using it.
That is brilliant. Okay, here's a good microphone again. Dr. Bill Robertson was the warden of Barnes and Storm National Park, the largest natural ripped-up jazz mag reserve in the West Country. For the past 10 years, Bill and his wife Joy had lived among the many species of torn-up grumble to be found under the bushes and hedgerows of the 1,000-acre parkland.
But why?
Yeah,
Like,
what?
I want to talk about horror comics, but I can't get over this. It's so strange to me. Why in hedgerows? Wouldn't they be in garbage cans?
Because they get caught, the wind blows them. But usually, what you find there is just single pages ripped out of a magazine for a quick rumble, and then you discard them apparently, and then because when I was a kid, we never found a full magazine. We never found a full magazine. It was always ripped out pages.
Yeah.
And then the wind would blow them, and of course hedgerows would stop them.
But it must have been pervert voyeurs doing it. Because why do it in the park?
Possibly. You know what? Okay.
Oh, that's a good point. Like maybe they were spying on someone, but they needed a little bit of extra encouragement. I don't know.
Yeah, but it must have been happening everywhere because
it wasn't just in Grimsby. No. Okay.
So everyone has a memory of finding this pornography in the hedgerow.
Yeah. God.
Or maybe it's a man. I don't know if the Mandela effect thing is the right way to describe it. Maybe it's one of those.
Well,
things
I don't know. I
said
suspect
they remember this happening, and then everybody else sort of has this false memory of it happening.
Definitely, I remember this stuff happening.
Maybe COVID Kev's memory is based on you're saying it's like a suggested memory thing, like
yeah,
just like pies.
I found porn in a hedge once,
like pies and windowsills, right? Like everyone think like that's a ubiquitous thing in everyone's childhood, but I bet you've never really seen a pie.
I've never seen a pie in a window.
Yeah, in Tom and Jerry cartoons, I've seen them, but never in real life.
And in Tom and Jerry cartoons, there's always pornography in the hedgerows, right? But it doesn't really.
Hang on, it's like Thomas.
So okay, so Rob's afraid of women's legs turning into wallpaper just when he's finally pulling the pantyhose off, and then it's just he's back.
I think that's a reinterpretation of
locked up in the attic with the yellow wallpaper, and he's like, no.
And paedophile pantomime cats.
Pedophile pantomime cats.
I just want to point out at this point that that sounds a bit. The name that Kev supplied us with, that crumpled up copy of Razzle is in trouble.
Yeah.
Further evidence that Kev just read this strip once and it created a false memory for him.
Razzle is. I don't know if I've ever read a Razzle.
You've never read a Razzle. Let's be clear.
Well, no one's ever read a Razzle. No one's ever. I never owned a copy of Razzle, but Razzle is sort of the go-to. If you're describing a porn mag in a comedy, from the UK, you say the term, you say Razzle because it's the funniest thing because it just sounds.
It does sound funny.
Nasty.
It is a good name. Is it like dirtier and nastier than Hustler? Because that's pretty low brow, bro.
It's. Do you have readers' wives in the US?
My reader's wife. No, but Kevin was talking about that. I would leave the reader's
It's very
wives.
amateurish.
I see.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Reader's wife. So it's like the girl next door. It's like,
Yeah. Razzle is all girls next door.
I see. So cheap to produce.
Yeah. It's usually badly lit, or probably not lit at all.
But there's something.
Flattering.
I know we've been stuck on pornography for like an hour, but I have one more point. Like, I think that's really interesting because like that could be more appealing in a sense because if it's something accessible, it might be because there's something to be said for like a fantasy that's out of your reach, but at the same time it's often more enticing and more gratifying to have a fantasy that's accessible, right? That seems like something that could really happen. So
I agree.
That's all I wanted to say. So readers' wives.
Yeah. If I knew we were going to talk about pornography so much, I'd love to have seen what the thumbnail for this episode.
Yeah.
Should.
What would be? Well, I think I know what the thumbnail for that episode would be. Hold on. I got it.
Maybe a horrible thumbprint on it.
Where's the backgrounds is? Here we go. Wouldn't it just be this one?
Oh, hang on. You got to stop sharing then, I guess. Oh, God. And maybe...
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't that be the background? if at such a time as we would do such a show.
Now we've added porn. Our most watched show ever.
I don't understand why. I don't remember how we got on porn, but we had a lot to say about it, so I don't regret a minute.
Oh, wow.
And anyways, porn really does, like, in all honesty, it causes erectile dysfunction. It causes sexual, incompatibility, inability to be intimate. So if you're sexually frustrated, kids, pornography is not the answer. And I'm being sincere. The answer is move to South America. Anyways,
so what? Ready for this?
Yes.
The internet is for porn. The internet is for porn. Yeah. Why you think the net was born? Porn.
I like it.
Avenue Q.
Yeah.
So Rob, I got to read this comic book about the pantomime pedo cat. I'm intrigued. Or like this has to be like a movie or something. I want to live up
to.
I want to know what this is all about.
The dream.
Like Rob, like Rob went to like a creepy library book reading of The Cat in the Hat and like got pedo vibes from the guy reading it, and he just like transferred them onto the Cat in the Hat itself. And Rob was like, "Not in my house, dude. Ain't no cat in the hat getting me, bruv." And he's hiding in the hedge in his backyard, and then he sees a magazine there.
Steering the topic of horror comics.
You just described Rob's childhood in a nutshell.
Not today. Not today, cat. What's that?
Scream. Scream
Cool.
comic
I like
from 1984. I think 1983 to 1984. And this is the only comic that I have a complete set of. Do you know why?
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 Because it went to issue 15 and then folded.
Oh, so there's only 15 of those.
There's only 15 plus summer specials.
So did
And,
they
like,
ever kill Dracula? Did they ever?
Oh, that I'm not sure of. Some of the strips merged with Eagle, the British Eagle comic. Yeah, but I love this. Is what I grew up with. This is what they love. This is what I grew up with. The comics this size. Yeah. So
And that's
you know,
like that looks like
it-
newspaper kind of print.
it totally is, and this is like
22p.
22p.
Wow.
If you know what do you call it? 2000 AD.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the original size before
Okay.
everything went full color. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and in fact, this is very similar to 2000 AD, not just because, of course, it was brought out by Fleetway. Where am I? Fleetway IPC, but also is an anthology, just like 2000 AD, concentrating on horror stories. So, I tell you what, if you want to share my page,
Yeah.
there we
Oh,
go.
cool, dude.
Yep. So, I mean, yeah, great British comics, dude, they're cool. Yeah. So, here we
I
go.
thought it was safe to sleep in the dark.
Yeah, and I think, and just like 2000 AD, for any of our viewers who know 2000 AD, I know you've mentioned before you've never really seen it, right? You've only seen like Judge Dredd and stuff like that, right, Ben?
Well, I've been getting into it lately, but only again because of my because of Max showing me the things he likes to read.
Right.
But yeah, I was more familiar with Heavy Metal magazine. 'Cause that
Okay,
was
okay.
common in the States.
So Heavy Metal was based on the French magazine, right? Metal Elan. Did they have like you would have one figurehead, one like a creepy editor, just like 2000 AD had Varg, the alien with the rosette on his
Right.
forehead, right? And
Which
the,
is a really cool gimmick, by the way.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun.
yeah. And this one had Ghastly McNasty. Also that kind of a spooky editor.
Yeah.
So you had like your readers page, etc. And then I think about 8 stories in 32 pages. And to be honest, for me
Were
as
they-
well, just like
Were they serialized stories or?
they were serialized. I think they were self-contained, but yet within a serial. So like you've got your
Like
Dracula
2000
story.
AD.
You got your Dracula story. It's like a modern like retelling, or what would you say?
Like a modern version of
modern version of Dracula, but like an extension of the Dracula story. Yep. Excuse me. And Monster, this one was cool. That basically this kid was told, "I told you to stay out of the attic," that kind of, or the cellar, you know. And it's his terribly deformed brother, Terry, who's in there, who looks like a monster, you know. So yeah.
So each month or whatever, those same stories
these
would
are
carry on.
weeklies, buddy.
Weekly.
Weeklies.
So like
How
the Dracula
cool did
story,
British comics used to be?
pretty amazingly, extraordinarily cool. So the Dracula story and the Terry the Monster story, they would continue each week from where they left off. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Now this one, the 13th floor, is like a computerized. It's like what you would call a smart home today, right? So it's all computerized. But anyone coming in wishing to do any of the tenants harm, then of course the lift or the system would just sort them
that's
out.
awesome. That's cool, dude. That sounds like a J.G. Ballard story or something.
Hi,
Okay,
right.
I to be honest, I don't know who that is.
Oh, right. So J.G. Ballard is a British science fiction writer, and like his main thing, like his speciality, was like coming up with really weird technology that would like have strange implications on people's lives. So like one of his books, one of his biggest, most successful books is called High Rise, right? Which is about a building that's so big that it's like a city that people don't even need to ever leave the building because there's like parks, grocery stores, everything inside the building, and so then it becomes like there's like this like economic collapse and like war between haves and have-nots within the same building. But I don't want to get off topic, but like that's really cool. So so tell me more about the 13th floor. It's like a computerized building that knows if you're trying to hurt the people that live there or something.
Absolutely. And you can see that this one in this issue, the lift stops and hey, this building hasn't got a 13th floor. Unfortunately for you, Mr. Kemp, it has. So it's like a mix of not just computer, like technology fiction, but also melded with
it's like the Twilight Zone. Like the 13th floor is like the Twilight Zone. Like right?
Yeah, totally. Do.
No, I could mess with that. That sounds really cool.
In 2000 AD, you had like Tharg's Future Shocks. You also had like Time Twisters. Very much, like what's the word, like paradox type stories. And here you've got like one-off stories, Tales from the Grave. No? And where was I going to with this? They even had like a humor strip there, Fiends and Neighbors. And I think that's is that Bill Patterson? I'm trying to think who that is, who the artist there. I recognize the style. I'll have to look and see who that is. But do you know? Oh, Jim, do you know? If I scroll past very quickly, who the artist is on this one?
Wait, scroll a little more.
Yeah, let's go
that
down.
That kind of looks familiar. Is that somebody that's worked on heavy metal, or am I just
possibly? I know he died unfortunately earlier this year.
Alan Grant.
Yeah. Oh, hang on a sec, because there are two Kennedys. There's Ian Kennedy and Cam Kennedy, and I don't want to mix them up. So this is
I don't know either of those.
This is Cam Kennedy. Well,
Cam Kennedy.
I'm gonna have to Google now. Let me see. Go back to. Let's go for Ian Kennedy first, because I think it could be Ian Kennedy, who did a lot for Eagle for 2000 AD, etc.
Yeah, Eagle 2000 AD. I like his style a lot.
Yeah, this looks like a very much a.
That's why it looks familiar to me. Cam Kennedy drew the Dark Empire graphic novels.
Right. Okay. So yeah, my mistake. Not Cam Kennedy. Ian Kennedy died this year. So, but Cam Kennedy, he's done a lot as well. He's where am I? There you go.
But this is Cam, is it?
This is Cam.
Yeah, I like this style a lot.
It's something about this, and I don't want to mix up again, but I'm sure he did. Also, Dan Dare, some of the Dan Dare strips in the earlier 2000 ADs.
Look at this guy, right? How cool is that? That's a really cool design, not overdone. I want to talk about this guy for a minute, if you don't mind, because like when you're trying to come, like this is such a cliche character, to be honest. Mysterious guy with a hood and a staff, but the way Kennedy's drawn this character and designed him, I think he's done a really good job, because like if you just make it look the same as any other nondescript weirdo with a staff and a hood, then it's not going to be interesting. It's not going to be memorable. But at the same time, if you like try to give him way too many bells and whistles and doohickeys, then it's not going to be memorable either, because it's just too busy. So I think, for my money, this is a good balance, because this looks really cool. I want to keep reading this. I want to know who this guy is, but I'm not bored by him or overwhelmed. I think it's a really, really neat design.
What that pop-up we just got was for a second.
Oh, I'll show you that. I'll show you that in a second. It's just from the website, yeah. Okay. So this, I mean, his eyes. Check out how tiny that like glint of light is.
Yeah.
To be able to get that and just like, Comic Ink has a bleed. To have that so precise, it didn't just like bleed into nothingness is kind of cool as well, I think. Right. So.
Oh yeah, he's a good artist.
Yeah, for sure.
Those Star Wars books, it's unfortunate because the stories are such garbage, but they look really really good. Like the Dark Empire with all the different clones and Luke Skywalker going to the dark side. I was disappointed when I read them because
Mhm.
because I looked forward to buying them for such a long time because the art is so interesting and intriguing, and then the story was pretty disappointing in my opinion. But again, that just speaks to how good of an artist Cam Kennedy is, to be honest.
Mm.
This publication seems to me to be the horror equivalent of 2000 AD.
Yeah,
I go for.
totally.
Also,
Even the fact that you've got the artists and the script writers' names, letters as
Yeah.
well.
When
All
the
of
purring stopped, there was no escape from the terror of the cats.
I think you need one of these, mate.
But it
Hold
also
on, let me
seems
try to reproduce the effect. When the purring stopped. No, just kidding.
It
So
also
what's this
seems like
story?
an attempt to do a British version of EC Comics, which they were like US anthology horror.
Tales of the Crypt.
Yeah, they were the influence for things like Peep Show and Tales
Yeah.
from the Crypt, where you had, the Crypt Keeper who would
Right.
introduce every story.
Mm.
I guess in the comic version, he'd
Like
be
a curator,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
He'd be the equivalent of Tharg in 2008.
absolutely. Welcome, readers. Yeah.
Yeah,
guess
that
so.
kind of guy.
Max is gonna be so mad but you've all but turned me on the microphone thing. I'm so into it today. I don't know why.
Good man, good man. It's all good stuff. Yeah. So does that.
Next
But then-
story: Spiders Can't Scream. I don't know what that means, but I want to read about it.
And then-
Like British, when the Brits do science fiction, we always do, I think, a much grittier, darker science fiction than they do in the US, and I think the same can be said with horror as well, if it's possible. Well, maybe not darker and grittier, but it's a different type of horror. I think we do. We do the gothic horror,
Ah,
whereas American horror tends to be maybe a little more
Slasher.
contemporary, slasher, but sort of set in the present, much
Right,
more,
right.
dealing with more relatable issues.
Which is interesting because we're the ones that have Edgar Allan Poe, don't we? And yet we still. You know what's funny is like
Edgar Allan Poe was influenced a lot by Bram Stoker.
that's fair.
Or was he actually? Did he predate Bram Stoker?
I think Bram came first. I'm not sure. What
Check the date on that.
But we had a couple of them, right? Like we had Edgar Allan Poe, and then we had Ambrose Bierce, and then we had
Lovecraft.
Lovecraft. We had a few.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is that like there's such a difference because you're right. Like when most people think of horror, they think of like horror movies, which are mostly just violent slasher bullshit movies. But like
There isn't a tradition. Well, it's a term, American Gothic. There is a tradition of the American Gothic story.
the problem with that is though that even most Americans don't read that.
No,
Like
no, it's fallen by the wayside now.
I feel like a lot of times it's hard for Brits to. I think a lot of times you underestimate how big the United States are. Because like most people don't care about Southern Gothic style. If you're not from that part of the United States, you're probably not even going to read that. Like I don't know anyone that reads Flannery O'Connor unless you live in Tennessee. So there's a lot of different things going on culturally that never overlap and that never touch each other. It's
Oh, really?
yeah, I mean it's a really there's so many different states and there's so many different things going on that
Yeah,
there's not very much gets to be ubiquitous.
yeah. Well, I've often thought it's funny how the USA can call itself a country. You know, you're a continent. You know, each
Yeah, it's
state
massive.
it's the size of a
Yeah.
your country. You know,
Well, it might not be one country forever. You know, there's talk of a national divorce. There's talk of Florida or Texas seceding. You know, I think it would make more sense.
rising again.
I think it would make more sense. Like I imagine in 100 years, it's like 7 different countries. It would kind of make more sense because it's so much landmass and so many different mentalities and cultures
Yeah.
and ways of life. You know.
Yeah.
But anyways, so that was cool, Rob. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes.
There was another one I wanted to show you because the thing is, I've never really. I've read a few horror comics. The difficulty for me is finding a horror comic that really has suspense because like on something like TV or film, you don't know what's coming. Yeah, with comics, you flip the page and it's all there. It's like the suspense is really a little difficult, and they have to be really good comics to be able
Why?
to do
Because
that.
you see the panel with the
Because you
jump
see
scare
everything at once on the
before
2-page
you read
spread.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just very briefly, I've just done a quick Google search. Edgar Allan Poe died 55 years before the publication of Dracula. So
No way.
that's- yeah,
Wow.
I would have put those guys at being alive at the same time, or at least.
I would have
Hmm.
guessed that Stoker came first.
Yeah, I would have. It seems it
That's
just seems like
amazing.
much more of an ancient novel than
Right.
the works of Poe. But, anyway, carry on, Rob. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. It's right. Thing that did kind of like pop into my mind, and I'm trying to find. I found it last week. Now I forgot to put it up again today. Was Tomb of Dracula, or also known as Dracula Lives. Are you familiar with the comic? They had the. It's got to be that one, but it's the UK one I'm looking for. In fact, let me just navigate around pop-ups. Yeah, right. Got it. So, Tomb of Dracula. Who can tell me which very
Are you gonna
popular?
Are you gonna share it?
I am going to share in a minute.
Take your time.
Which very popular, secondary character, which became its own character. It's like how a main character appeared in the Tomb of Dracula series.
Hold on. Can you ask the question again?
Yeah. So one character in the comic series Tomb of Dracula became its own like
a spin-off?
like a spin-off comic, like a spin-off character that even made it to movies.
Blade?
Oh, and he's done it.
Was it?
Wait, are you
Yeah, it
kidding
was
me?
Blade.
Blade was from this comic Dracula Lives originally?
Yeah.
I must have known
Right,
that. And, suppressed
Oh, I
it.
gotta read this, dude.
Yeah, hang on a sec. What's going on here?
Show me. I want to see
This is-
Blade's
so this is
first
the
ever
first-
appearance.
This is
See, I
it.
always thought he started in Spider-Man for some reason. Although I
This
don't know
is-
why
this is it.
Spider-Man would be doing vampire stories.
I guess I never thought
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, that would make more sense that he appeared in a Dracula story.
Damn it. Damn you pop-ups. Right, here we go. Yeah, this is Blade.
Oh, let me show.
There you go. Oh, you're not sharing. Right. There
I
you
am
go.
now.
Yeah. So
Tomb of
1972.
Dracula. Drop that girl, Dracula, or this wooden knife will finish you off forever. That's not how Blade talks.
Yeah, why is he speaking like Gargamel?
Wow,
Wooden
this is
knife.
very much a 70s take on Blade.
He's got wooden knives that he's throwing. That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's hilarious because, okay, that's actually really cool. Leave that page for a second if you don't mind.
Sure.
Because like the whole Blade thing is like he's a super badass with all these like weapons for fighting vampires, and then like this is like the campy like 1970s style where you just come up
This
with
is
nuts ideas and put them in a comic book, and it's
this
like
is a blaxploitation vampire hunter.
right.
This is obviously, which I think is really what Luke Cage was as well. Really, that very much is trying to tap into that blaxploitation market.
But like, there's the
But it's
blaxploitation.
funny you go from that to 20 years later, and
Right.
you have Wesley Snipes in leather.
But
and
it's
so
also like the terribly unpragmatic weapon or gimmick or whatever that was such a big thing in the 1970s in like the golden and silver age of comic books, right? It's like, well, what if he throws knives, but they're wooden knives, right? Because he's fighting vampires, right? And like, and like that makes it to print because in the 1970s, so you could do anything you want, you know. And I don't know, it's just such a terrible idea in my opinion, but that's a part of the charm as well.
Yeah. Well, traditionally it's a wooden stake through the heart. So
Yeah,
So
there
it
you
makes
go.
sense.
So, yeah, of course, he could have wooden knives. He kind of looks like Huggy Bear from Starsky and Hutch.
Oh yeah, for sure, a little bit. Yeah.
I'm guessing that's gonna be the influence there.
I mean,
I
it's
had
a
no
bit
idea
different to
that
me.
that's how Blade started out as a character.
Maybe your hot stuff back in Transylvania, but nobody messes around with Blade the Vampire Slayer.
This looks amazing.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude?
It's like you're gonna throw a piece of wood at me. That's what you're doing.
And that's
This
very
is-
much a Vincent Price model for the face of Dracula,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
You're just throwing sticks at me. This is your grand plan.
Sticks and stones make ouch.
Sticks and stones kill vampires, sucker.
Fuck off.
That's cool. Though.
I
This
want
is
to
the
see
first
this one.
appearance of Blade. This is amazing.
This is the first appearance of Blade. Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Vampires,
Oh,
get
we
back,
don't-
Alan! I'll stop. You'll do nothing, mortal. No human can stop Dracula's legion. Oh, here we go. There you go.
They call me
It's only-
Blade. Blade the vampire killer.
Yeah,
Blade, we were warned about him.
That's such an
Dracula
awful
said
design.
kill him if he showed his filth. He's giving him a British accent, hasn't he? Dracula said kill him if he showed his filthy face.
If he showed his filthy face.
That's
I gotta tell you, I hope I'm not being a hater, but I don't think this is a cool costume for my man Blade.
no.
Not the
No.
best.
Well, mind you, I mean, let's put it this way.
If they
If
were
it-
going to go the blaxploitation route, I think they could have come up with something a little better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty run of the mill.
yeah. Well, I don't know when he got his own run. Did they improve the costume at all?
I think so, right? Because, well, now that you mention it, I guess I haven't really read that much Blade comics, but I'm aware of them. And if I'm not mistaken, he pretty much looks as he does in the movies, right? Which is to say, like trench coat, badass,
Right.
swords and things.
yeah. Mind you, he doesn't have a duffel coat, does he?
He's sort of like no,
No.
like,
I mean,
what-
this really does have a bit of a duffel coat.
and this
Yeah,
the glasses, man. The glasses look
glasses.
so stupid. I'm
Yeah,
not into them at all. But like once he
That's
had
a
his
whisper,
own,
isn't it?
once he had his own book, he was basically just like a cyberpunk
Yeah,
/ samurai kind of look.
Yeah.
You know,
And here,
yeah.
what did he call these? Jodhpurs? these aviator trousers. I never understood what the hell they were. I like
Aren't
are
those
they
for
like
riding a
really big
horse?
pockets?
Aren't those for
Yeah,
horseback
like
riding or
jumper
something?
kind of things, or aviators. You would see aviators wear this kind of stuff in the Second World War.
Yeah. Yeah, they kind of expanded around the waist, didn't they?
Yeah, well, around the thighs, isn't it?
Around the thighs, yeah.
Yeah. It's like really weird.
But this is the most 70s thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. They're on a ship with Elton John. Some shake. And then, there's Vincent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what?
A cameo by Vincent Price, yeah.
Yeah.
70s
Vincent
TV.
Price had really bad problems with his teeth. Do you know why?
Because he was a vampire.
This is going to be
No.
a terrible joke.
The foulest dentures in the air.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
That's like 5 times that the microphone kicked ass today. So I feel like
We're away,
microphone.
Rob.
I think microphone's back on the menu, Rob.
Nice.
Victory.
I mean,
Nice.
Max has only got himself to blame for
Yeah,
being
well,
away.
you know, you can't veto things if you don't come.
So hey, here's the thing, right? We were just talking about his costume, like this green and green and blue, and then the Dracula himself wearing blue and red. Now red on the inside, okay, but you can imagine that they chose these colors kind of specifically because it was a color comic. And imagine this, if it was all, or at least most of it, black. It would just be solid black, wouldn't it? So maybe it would be like this one, for example. It would be possibly quite difficult to show the shadows of a black costume.
Yeah,
You would have to really show the highlights. No?
Yeah. But it doesn't
And
really
I
make
guess that's why they...
sense if he's a creature of the night and trying to
Hmm.
fade into the
Yeah.
shadows. But I guess this is his part fade.
Mm-hmm. So that this would be, instead of like Prince of Darkness, it would be Prince of Blueness.
Yeah. It's the blueness with a hint of red.
That's interesting, right? So that like, you're saying so that his cape shows up against a shadow background?
Well, yeah, because I mean, imagine if they gave him the traditional black cape. All of this, everyone would just be solid black, and then it would be more kind of difficult to see outlines, to see, because you're not going to see.
That's what a lot of artists started doing with Batman, right? Like that's how you start to get like the thing of Batman where it's just his eyes and like the outline of the ears silhouetted and like faded into shadows. Like think about the Tim Loeb and Jeff Sale Batman, how like you just see his eyes and like part of a shoulder here and the rest melded into the shadow. So there's ways to do that where it's really cool too. You know, the opposite.
True. Yeah.
Is that actually meant to be Elton John?
No, I don't think so. But you can see it's.
Yeah,
I don't think it's supposed to be Elton John, but it's I mean, this is 1972. You know,
Right.
so.
Oh, is the character that old?
Yeah.
Blade, I mean, I know Dracula's an old character.
Not as old as Edgar Allan Poe, apparently.
No.
You know, it's really a shame that Poe's books were more concept based and because he didn't really have any iconic character, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like if he had done, there'd be a lot more homage to him.
Yeah, it's the concepts, the set pieces that we used in the Roger Corman films are what you remember from Poe's stories. The Pit and the Pendulum probably being the most famous.
And of course, the Raven, especially the Simpsons episode.
Yeah, if only he'd invented Raven.
Quaff. Wait for it. Quaff the Raven. Eat my shorts.
So I guess this year the Simpsons are going to do like an anime Treehouse of Horror. Did you guys hear about that?
Oh,
did
yes,
hear
I
about
did.
that.
Yes.
Like a totally different animation style and production. Oh, hold on. Let's take a look at that transformation there.
Nice, no?
Well, kind of, but I mean, version 2 is a little bit funny. Like,
Yeah.
Beast, isn't it? From the X-Men.
And this one, like, was he having like a stroke or what?
yeah, his nose is out. He's like, his eyes are crossed. Yeah. It's like what they don't tell you is that transforming into a bat causes a lot of motion sickness. It's like, he's like, give me a second. I'll get it going.
Where the fuck was I?
He like throws up a couple of times, washes his face, and he's like, okay, now I'm a bat.
Dude. So there
Next, Voodoo over London.
you go. Yeah. So, how
Well, I gotta
is
say,
that?
No, that's
of,
great.
of everything that you've shared, Rob, the 13th floor is really intriguing to me. That sounds like a
Cool.
really fun kind of tangent between science fiction and horror.
Yeah. And what's good is that it outlasted the comic because it was melded. Scream merged with Eagle comic, the new Eagle comic, and
Which is where I first read Judge Dredd.
I don't think so. That would have been 2008. Now you're thinking of the Eagle reprints in the US.
Mm-hmm. That was my first exposure to
No,
Judge Dredd.
Eagle comic was is also an anthology. It was based on a 1950s.
Oh, is that not the same thing?
No. Dan Dare was the pilot of the future. Was a comic strip from the 1950s, and what was his name? Frank Hampshire, I think, is the name of the guy who beautiful painted artwork.
Okay, but wait, is Eagle an imprint or a
No,
title?
Eagle. Okay, so I don't know who exactly published Eagle, but the original Eagles were the same size as broadsheet newspapers, I believe.
Actually, Eagle's wingspans are a little bit wider than that.
And the new Eagle was 1981. It was relaunched, and it was mostly photo stories.
Huh.
There's not, I can't say mostly. Hang on a sec. It was a mix of photo stories and comics. I will tell you what. While I'm here, let me find a copy so I can show you. Do we have enough time?
Well, I don't. I'm not in a hurry today. So if you
I'm
want to
good
hang
for a
out, I'll
minute.
hang out. Yeah.
Nah, Eagle Comics not coming up there. Let's see if I can find it here.
So I like your
Horrible.
sweater, Buddha. And just so you know, this is the gang symbol for the Lower East Side. So,
I feel like, is there a reference? I know I wear these things. I never actually realise what it says on them. Oh, it says Lower East Side on it.
yeah, it's a part of New York City. No, with these three fingers.
Oh, sorry.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's a part of New York City where there's a lot of crime and hipsters and artists, right? It's like an area where there's like a lot of starving independent artists and also a lot of crime.
Yeah. But
I'm going to share my screen again. I can't actually
Basically-
find what is.
East Side, and then there's a way to make a W for West Side, but I don't remember that one.
West Side.
it's just that, isn't it?
Is it as
East
simple
Side.
as that?
Yeah. East Side,
But I'm
West
pretty
Side.
sure East Side's these three
East Side,
fingers.
West Side.
I think it's
I'm
like
going
this.
from LEG.
East Side.
Yo, booyakasha! When you think
Watching,
when you think of Wales, you think of the fish with the biggest dick in the ocean.
What are you? Something I'll never understand is how there could have been a second season of Ali G, because like once once the world knows about the character, how is anyone going to fall for it anymore?
I think,
Yeah, but not everybody knew, right?
The first season was done
Guess
in
not.
the UK. The second season was done in the US. So in the US,
That's true.
Oh, so they hadn't seen it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
If it's even officially the same show.
But like,
I think
how do you pitch that show? Because any producer is going to be like, "So this is a show we could only do for one season." Like,
Yeah.
right?
Well, not really a big deal in the UK because we only make like 12 episodes of anything tops, you know. But it must have been a hard sell for the US market.
That's funny.
The first season, it has my favorite line of all time. This female interviewer, can't remember her name, was interviewing a lord, right? You know, of the House of Lords, so as a career politician. And the way she phrased the question was, some people say that politics is like being in a box, is being a boxer. Being in politics is being a boxer. There you are, day in, day out, being fisted in the ring. And this old guy, I mean, he was good grief. He was like in his 80s. Well, I can imagine, yes, that some people might think of it like that. And as you say, being fisted in the ring is what we...
So he didn't get the joke?
No, not at all.
What the heck?
They never did, you know. There was the one about he was asking the Minister of Education about whether kids should get caned at school. Just following it. Yes, I think children should be caned at school. You do respect.
So who's Dan Dare?
So this is the original Eagle from 1950, God knows what. And he was a pilot. He was a space pilot. So this is before, you know, the space race. So this is a kind of like Flash Gordon, the British Flash Gordon, if you like.
Like, what's that superhero? Adam Strange, right? Who can like has a jetpack and his space gun or something, right? Something along those lines.
Possibly. He had a wingman called Digby, and it was all very British, you know.
Okay.
Very, very British. So then 30 years later, the Eagle was launched again. I don't know how the Eagle, the original Eagle, did last for a number of years, probably about 10, maybe 15 years, and then it folded, and it was launched again, and it had a really, compared to, for example, this format, this newsprint format, the Eagle, and I've got
Which,
them
by the way, I don't think I'd like that format. I feel like the pages would not last, right? Like it would probably start to disintegrate.
Unless they're cared for well, they can do. Yes, that's for sure.
Yeah, American comics are a lot more durable and long-lasting for sure.
Well, they are, because they've got a different kind of cover, don't they? Whereas these, it's newsprint all the way through.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's true.
They were headed for jumble sales, you know, the big boxes full of weathered.
God.
Who's that spider-faced green guy?
So this is the Mekon, and the Mekon was actually the baddie in the original Eagle, and it's a return of the Mekon. No.
Oh yeah. I think I've heard like you guys talk about Mekons before.
Yeah.
You mentioned that somebody looked like a Mekon. I don't remember who.
Yes, we have talked about the Mekon before.
Quite possibly, yeah.
But if you look in the on the scrolling images on the left, there's like 9, and the bottom right one is like a hyper close up of a green face. Is that a Mekon?
This
Not
one?
Not that one.
Oh, this one. This would be the Mekon.
That's a Mekon. Okay.
Yeah, so that's somebody else. This is one of the Ken. No, is it? Could it be?
So were the I can't. What do you call?
Yep.
What are the guys from Green Lantern? The little blue dudes from Green Lantern. What are they called?
No idea. You got me there.
But I wonder if those were like inspired by Mekons.
Yeah,
No
we
idea.
touched on this before. We were sure the Mekon had inspired something. But I can't remember what it was we were talking about.
Oh, that's cool though. That eagle. Look at that one with the fighter jets in the foreground and the eagle in the back.
This one.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, that's an American one.
yeah.
So that's another one. That's a US one.
Funny
So that's-
that we like our eagles, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny that the British comic would be called Eagle.
Yeah, that is funny.
I never read the Eagle, but my dad did. I guess
You're
back in the
talking about the
50s.
original eagle.
Well, it would have been from
Well,
the 50s.
What animal is representative of England, or isn't there one?
The lion, which is funny because we don't get a lot of them around here.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's interesting because
But, we did
coat of
colonize
arms.
most of
On the
Africa.
one side, you got a lion. The other side, you got a unicorn.
What? You've got a lion and a unicorn on your shield, or what?
Yeah, yeah.
We get even less unicorns.
I think you'll find it's fewer.
That's really funny. That's really funny. It's like we don't have many lions. We've got even less
We
unicorns.
got bugger all unicorns.
That never stopped you. Well, it's not like there's a ton of eagles around either, to be honest. But
No.
I mean, even in the States, there's not a lot of eagles. You're more likely.
We have really pathetic
There's-
homegrown
there's-
animals in the UK. You know, we have badgers and hedgehogs.
Yeah, but they're not very impressive on coats of arms, are they? Especially when you
No,
put
Hey man,
the
badgers
fear
are cool.
of God into your
barn
enemies.
owls.
Badgers are cool, dude. Don't even.
Oh yeah.
Don't
Yeah, you wouldn't mess one.
underappreciate your badger.
I
wouldn't
like a
mess with
badger,
one.
but you wouldn't stick one on a flag. I don't think.
No, you wouldn't stick one on a flag.
So remember I told you that the new eagle
yeah,
had
photo.
stores.
Yeah.
Photo stores usually were kind of reserved for like romance comics, for like girls comics, and then all of a sudden, like you've got that eagle bringing in like photo stories with this guy in a rubber mask. I am Doomlord.
Well, this feels very much like Viz. Oh God.
Yeah,
Servant
bringer
of
of
Knoth.
death. No, keep back.
No,
I don't
want. I don't want any death. Keep it away. Keep all
I
your
mean-
death away from me.
I suppose that's an impressive mask for considering they probably shot this on a budget of about £2.80.
Yeah, possibly.
It's the black backdrop and everything.
Yeah. On a smoke machine. How much would a smoke machine cost in the 80s? Or they were just like, because smoking in public spaces was probably still possible, so
Yeah,
they just
yeah.
did it in the office.
Yeah, that's what the UK looked like in the 80s. It was full of fag smoke wherever you went.
This is so British. You there? Who are you, and what have you done to Bob? Oh God, we should have a read through one of these days. This would be great. He's dead, sweet mercy, and his eyes. What's happened to his eyes? What kind of voice should I do for Doomlord? Nothing that concerns you, human. Very nasal.
So is Doomlord a vampire? What's his deal?
Kinda.
He's kind of
He's
like
a-
a vampire.
He's a baddie.
He's like a vampire alien thing.
Yeah, but he's got his ring on, so
I
he's married.
have need of you.
So he's
That's
married.
always the voice that I do. It's like the same one every time. You know he's married. I want to see.
Yeah,
I want to
Can you
see.
imagine Mrs. Doomlord?
You mean Doom Lady?
No, that's not going to work, is it?
Doom Lady, she's called, isn't she?
Barbara Doomlord.
No, dude, Doom
there
Lady.
is no Mrs. Doomlord.
He's got his wedding ring on.
It's not even a wedding
Wow.
ring. That's like a big
Well, it must have
jewel.
been in the
That's-
80s.
That's what you call a man ring, right? Like obnoxiously loud, large.
That kind of
Yeah,
that's the
no,
kind of
it's
ring you could be
obviously-
fisted in.
It's the
I
kind
think
of ring
obviously
to
just
fix
something evil.
fist a boxer with.
Oh, hang on. Image in new tab.
Oh, it's an alien. It says right there.
Yeah.
An alien stalks the earth. Doom Lord.
a meteor. It's coming down by Gallows Wood. Oh, I like this. They're together.
This is cool.
Yeah.
This is cool. Yeah.
Yeah, this is
Go
like
on then. Let's see. Do you want to read the next one then, Jim?
the only
read it?
witnesses were PC Bob Morton and Howard Harvey, a reporter from the Cambridge Argus.
Go on, Ben.
Could be a story in this for my paper.
Hop in, Howard. I'll give you a lift.
Minutes later, in Gallows Wood,
Look at the size of the crater it's made.
What do you make of it?
Heaven knows, but it's certainly not a meteorite.
What was that noise?
There's someone out there. Stay here, Howard. I'll handle it.
I'll handle it. Yeah, the famous last words. This is the place. Come out of there, whoever you are. Yeah. Oh, Alan Grant.
oh, Alan Grant. Yeah, I just spotted that.
We know that name.
We should
Wow,
treat this with much more reverence.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, for being an Alan Grant, it's pretty campy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm reassessing it now.
Yeah, and I think that's.
How was
the
my
page-
English accent? I think it's pretty good.
Oh, it's actually good. Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
bad.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
I appreciate you saying so.
Would I lie to you?
I rarely hear a decent English accent from the US. Yeah, you never quite get it right. I don't think.
No, most don't. I think mine's better than average,
This
just
is
because I hang out
someone
with
from the
English.
US trying to sound British. All right, I'm
Yeah,
from the UK. Apparently we all talk like this in the UK.
Yeah, most of them overdo it. It's because most people from the States haven't really met anyone from England.
Yeah, anyone from outside.
Apart from Eliza Doolittle.
Yeah, I can honestly say in the 40 years I've lived in the UK, I've never heard anybody talk like this. I've got a major cold today, that's why I said anybody then.
Well, do you remember Kenny Everett?
Yes?
He had that character Sid Snot, and he used to talk like that.
No, that's true, yeah. But
Yeah.
that wasn't his real voice, was it?
No.
It's not here.
I feel like
Yeah. Oh.
bottom left quadrant. Is that Michael Jackson in a Doom Lord?
Oh yes. It looks
Dude,
like it.
full screen that page.
Yeah. There we go. I'm bad. I'm really very bad.
This is quite prophetic.
I'm really very bad.
I love it.
Oh God.
So Rob, are you
Dude.
ever going to write your nightmare memoirs? about
Possibly
the-
not, because I just don't want to freak Jim out.
Well, Jim's only freaked out by tryptophobic things.
Well,
Right?
it
Not-
concerns tryptophobia, so yeah.
Well, the wallpaper thing does, right?
Yes. Tales from the tryptophobia.
Oh no. The worst horror series ever. What are you thinking of doing, Robert? Like a dream journal?
No, I'm not. Ben's saying I should do it. I'm working on
I
Rattle.
think
I'm working on Rattle and Roll too. I am.
Oh, you are?
Here you are
Oh, yeah.
expanding your grand story and your original content and your original character. What you should be doing is drawing your bad dreams. That's the book I want.
Ah, do you think?
Tryptophobic pantyhose, legging weirdness, you know,
That's a
And
great
then-
idea, I think.
and the pantomime cat in the garden. I think that's
No,
cool.
don't distract me
Nightmare
anymore. I
too.
got like loads to do. I'm
Right.
now on about 53% of Rattle and Roll 2.
wonderful.
Hey.
That's actually really good, Rob. I'm really happy. I can't
Yeah,
wait.
I've got to
it's-
start
it's-
another £3.
It's taken a long time. Actually, yeah, there
It's
is a new
astonishing
twist.
how long it takes. Yeah. Tell
Yeah,
us
no,
about
I
it.
mean,
We're
the
still
fir-
we
Rattle
still
and Roll
haven't
one took
finished
me about a year,
Rokan.
and this one I've really kind of tried to up my game a bit, but I guess that's had a bit of a negative effect because it's I don't know. Maybe it's partly because of the whole lockdown thing. I don't know. I've just like it's been more of a challenge to really get into it, and I've had some financial difficulties as well, which haven't helped. So yeah, but enough of my troubles. So
No, but I know
there-
we know what it's like, Rob. I feel for you. It's challenging. It's quite like taking a road trip in Colombia, making a comic book. You have the
Yeah.
plan set out. You know the way it's meant to go. You know how long it should take, but it
Yeah.
always takes longer. There's always problems. Someone's in the road on a horse buggy slowing you down. So these things happen.
He's
you
just
know.
talking about his day now.
I know. I don't know.
I'm still really annoyed with how long it took me to get from Caradan to Santa Marta. It shouldn't take as long as it did, and I'm not over it. So, but no, we know what it's like, Rob. We're in the same boat, Max and I. It's tough, but it's worth it because making your own book is a fabulous, wonderful, magical thing.
For sure.
Yeah.
Quick preview.
Yeah,
It's down there, ready to share.
cool.
And there we have it. So, we get to learn a little bit more about Roll. Not too much. I don't want to give too much of Roll away. And also, these guys, they make an appearance. They were in the first issue as well. And yeah. So, I'm not going to give too much info away because, the comic's not ready yet. But
Okay.
also, hey. But I just wanted to give you guys a bit of a taster of the color version. Like the first one was black and white, and this one's in color. So, yep.
Something that I think
Yeah.
that you handle better than most is the way that you put layers on top of each other in a single panel. That's not an easy thing to do. So,
Yeah.
my what do you call that? My hats off, mate. Those look really cool.
Merci. Yeah, like Clip Studio Paint is like really good for that, I think. Years ago, I mean, I saw tutorials maybe 20 years ago about layers, and I just thought, layers, no, screw layers, it's all going to be on one page. I was
Right.
very, very kind of purist about that. And now, I mean, like the freedom that layers allows you to do is like,
No, I think if you're going to use technology to make comic books, then you've got to exploit that capability.
yeah, for sure. Alrighty.
Oh, it looks good. I like it.
Cool. When
Thank
will
you.
we be seeing?
Now, thanks to you, I had all but grown out of anthropomorphic animals until I met you and Arya, and now I'm like proper into it again. Reading Cerebus, the Aardvark, rereading
Right
like
out of it.
everything Ninja Turtles, rereading like DuckTales comics.
Cool. Have you read Captain Carrot?
No,
Captain Carrot and the Amazing Zoo Crew was cool. Good. Hey guys, we're on for we've been going for 2 hours.
for 2 hours. Yeah. We should
Dude.
probably put a bow on this one.
Yeah.
Um,
yeah. Which is a shame, but it's
Have
nice
we
just
said
to sit
everything
and chat.
we wanted to say about pornography and venereal disease?
It's funny, dude, because my mother hates pornography. So of course we get on a massive 45-minute tangent about pornography the day I'm at my mom's house in Santa Marta.
That's
Of
why
course
we
that
got
happens.
for the massive
And now
podcast.
now she's telling all her friends, she's like, I thought my son's podcast was about comic books. Apparently it's just about pornography. But
It's just a
whatever.
huge
Well, we
wank
steered it
fest.
back nicely to comic books. Just one question before we go. What is
Yeah.
the thumbnail? I only just noticed it then. Some
What,
hideous.
this one?
Yeah, it's not the Fly 2.
This? Are you talking about this the
Yeah,
the logo in the corner?
No,
Smack-
the thumbnail for this week. Now with
Yeah, this
added,
week's in the Fruit Loops bowl.
yeah, there's some horrible monster.
Yeah, I have no idea what it is. It's what Max. It's the monster Max put to represent horror comics and other shit. Generally speaking.
You're right. Doesn't even look like a comic character. I recognize it.
So
It's not a comic character.
yeah, not any comic character that I'm aware of. I don't think so. I think
No.
it's a generic monster. I don't know where Max found him, but I think he looks cool.
Yeah.
Should we just? I feel like we could carry on doing horror comics next week. Well, I guess October's well over with by now. November's almost over even. What should we do next week? We never did talk about that Black Rainbows movie, or did you? Did you do that without me? I don't remember.
We haven't done that yet. Is Max back next week? 'Cause I think
Max will be back next week. Yes.
Yeah, he definitely wants to talk about that.
So
Yeah, that was a weird movie.
not your
More
favorite
on the
movie, right?
Yeah, more on that next week, I guess.
We'll try watching it on psychedelic mind altering substances.
Have you watched it, Ben?
No, I haven't watched it, but I might do tonight.
Okay.
I likely watch it right now. I have got plenty of other comic books to talk about.
Are you
too.
gonna watch it on psychedelic mind altering substances?
Well, my mom's right there, so I'll say no.
That's why I asked the question.
But yeah,
'Cause I
so
know you do.
I think we could do another horror topic next week, so that way we could talk about Black Rainbow and if we want other comics.
Mhm.
I've got some Clive Barker comics that I've not read yet that are really interesting that I'd like to crack open this week. So
Oh, that's what I should have talked about. I have Clive Barker comics.
that's the point, Rob. That's the point, Buddha. That's the point, Buddha. We could do it next week.
Well, okay, so give me info on Clive Barker, and we'll look at that next week. Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
I mean, yeah, and again, I could just
We
I
could
talk to
Black
Lois about
Black
Clive
Rainbow /
Ronnie Barker.
It'll be one of
What's-
those subjects.
what's the hell called in the Clive Barker universe? The what do they call it?
It's not the Upside Down.
No, what's the name
Well,
of the
hell,
big thing? The
Leviathan.
Leviathan. Black Rainbow Leviathan? Is that too much for one week?
Play it by ear, I guess.
Either or is
Well,
fine.
we'll
with
line
me.
it out on Twitter.
Either or is
Probably
fine
should be
with
having
me.
this conversation when we're off there.
All right, boys.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out. That was an awesome show. And see you guys.
Good to
next
be
week.
here.
Boy, we've got to get your little Rob intro and Buddha intro. I'm going to talk to Max about that.
Yeah, dude. Where's
I know
my
it's-
intro? Where's my jingle?
Yeah, that would be nice.
I
Yeah.
think Max has been busy is all.
Yeah.
Thanks, COVID Kev, for being the only person that watches the show throughout the entire time.
I think Max watched it for about 2 minutes. So he popped up at one point.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Great show, boys. Thanks a lot. That was fun.
All righty. Take care, guys.
As we've just seen, drugs make your problems go away. So make it the best day possible. Remember, it's drugs that counts. Take one and take a chance.
Saturday morning cartoons, mostly conjecture based on little knowledge.
And